6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Lal Malhorachi and read by Lavani Vijayatunga. First, we take a look at the headlines. The auspicious time for the oil anointing ceremony for the new year falls at 10:17 a.m. tomorrow. The President says the progression of a nation is propelled by the perpetual cycle of renewal where innovative ideas come into fruition. The integrated transport plan has been implemented to ensure transport facilities for the people during the post-New Year period. The police urge the public to care for their personal safety during the out-of-the activities. Sri Lankans in Israel are asked to exercise caution. The government says no permission has been granted for the import of rice. And news overseas, Iran launches drones at Israel in a retaliatory attack. And in sports news, Sashini Gimhani named for the national women's cricket team for the forthcoming ICC T20 World Cup Global Qualifier Cricket Tournament. Those are the headlines, and now let's move on to the details of the local news. The auspicious time for the oil anointing for the new year falls at 10:17 a.m. tomorrow. According to the Nakat Sea Tour, it should be performed by looking southward direction clad in white color attire. Oil anointing is one of the key traditions of the Sinhala Hindu New Year. The main objective of this festival is to promote health and to wish people a long life. The auspicious time to leave for work falls on Wednesday at 6:52 a.m. President Ranil Wickremesinghe, in his message for the year 2024, Sinhala and Hindu New Year says, the progression of nations, countries and the global community is propelled by the perpetual cycle of renewal where innovative ideas are nurtured and novel creations come into fruition. Embracing new renewals in accordance with the traditional New Year, the calendar year or the changing seasons, individuals across the globe find themselves revitalized, endowed with fresh opportunities for growth and advancement. Beneath the surface of this myriad of renewal lies the fundamental truth, the paramount importance of social relationships and collective unity. The President highlighted that in the dawn of the new year, social relations and solidarity emerge as fundamental pillars essential for steering our nation forward along with the path of progress and prosperity. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena says that an integrated transport plan has been implemented to ensure the transport facilities for the people coming back from their villages after the Sinhala and Hindu New Year celebrations. This plan is being carried out under the supervision of the Sri Lanka Transport Board, the Department of Railways and the Road Passenger Transport Authority. Police spokesman DIG Nihal Thalduwa announced a special security plan implemented across the island for the post-New Year period, especially for the out of the celebrations organized island-wide. He urges the public to abstain from driving under the influence of alcohol. Additionally, in light of the concerning rise in traffic violations, particularly speeding during congestion periods, DIG Thalduwa kindly requested the drivers to pay close attention to traffic guidelines to ensure everyone's safety. Drivers are urged to avoid drunk driving, and authorities will take steps to prevent uncultured New Year celebrations. The police also urge the public to be cautious of water-related accidents during the festive season. The Vasanta Siriya 2024 celebrations for the New Year will take place on the 27th of this month at Golfways, Colombo. This event is being organized by the Welfare Society of the Presidential Secretariat along with other ministries and will be held from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. with a number of New Year games and competitions. The festivities will come with the Vasanta Siriya musical concert, which will commence at 7 p.m. at the venue with the participation of famous singers. Sri Lankans living in Israel have been asked to exercise caution in anticipation of any emergency following the latest development of tension between Israel and Iran. The Sri Lankan ambassador in Tel Aviv, in a Facebook post, requested Sri Lankans not to step out of their workplaces for unnecessary engagements. Also, Sri Lankans under medication for various ailments are asked to keep medicines sufficient for a longer period in case of any emergency situation that develop. They have been also requested to keep sufficient food, and Sri Lankans work in Israel mostly as farm workers and caregivers. This is the news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
People's Bank Excelsior. Live the life you want.
And we continue with more local news. State Finance Minister Ranjit Sinhala says that no permission has been granted for the import of rice other than basmati rice for the needs of tourist hotels. The minister further said that the government had allowed the import of rice when there was a risk of a rice shortage last February. At that time, a quantity of rice that had been brought in after a few days was stuck in the port, so a week's time was given to release that particular quantity of rice, but that time has now expired, the minister said. A female Madagascar national who tried to enter Sri Lanka with swallowed capsules containing cocaine worth over 26 million rupees was intercepted by the Sri Lankan Customs at the Bandanayake International Airport last Friday. The Customs Narcotics Control Unit officials stationed at the BIA arrival terminal stopped the arriving passenger on suspicion that she may be carrying drugs. Since they could not find anything in her belongings, she was admitted to the Nigaba hospital for an X-ray scan, and the authorities found capsules containing drugs in her abdomen. The officials have retrieved 57 capsules containing 620 grams of cocaine, and the operation is continuing as they suspect there are more. And to conclude the local news, the headlines once again. The auspicious time for oil anointing for the new year falls at 10:17 a.m. tomorrow. The President says the progression of a nation is propelled by the perpetual cycle of renewal where innovative ideas come into fruition. The Integrated Transport Plan has been implemented to ensure transport facilities for the people during the post-New Year period. The police urge the public to care for their personal safety during the outdoor activities. Sri Lankans in Israel asked to exercise caution. The government says no permission has been granted for the import of rice. And that was the local news.
People's Bank Excelsior, a comprehensive banking services package with a branded checkbook as well as debit and credit card exclusively for you. People's Bank Excelsior, for professionals who dare to dream.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
The main news story for this morning, the International Monetary Fund has selected Kristalina Georgieva to serve as the Managing Director for a second 5-year term starting on the 1st of October this year. The IMF's Executive Board took the decision on Friday by consensus. In a press release, the global lender said that in line with the selection process it has established on the 13th of March this year, the board has held several rounds of discussions, including with Georgieva, the sole candidate nominated for the position, before making its decision. Georgieva served as the IMF's Managing Director since the 1st of October 2019. The Managing Director is the Chief of the IMF's operating staff and Chair of the Executive Board. The Managing Director is assisted by 4 Deputy Managing Directors in overseeing the fund's operations, which serves its membership through about 3,100 staff. The 70-year-old Bulgarian national has been the IMF's Managing Director since 2019. Previously, she served as the Chief Executive Officer of the World Bank from January 2017. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
And in Russia this morning, the registration for the 2024 electoral register is currently underway. The Commissioner General of Elections, Saman Sri Ratnayaka, says if an individual has not registered to the 2024 electoral register, they can register themselves until the 6th of May. Registration will be made possible through the Grama Niladhari officers, the Election Office, and the official website of the Elections Commission. And that came to you in Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
Headlines of the world news: Iran launches drones at Israel in retaliatory attack. Dozens stranded and 10 injured, as well as 1 killed in Turkey cable car crash. Nigeria becomes the first country to introduce revolutionary meningitis vaccination. Those are the headlines, and now let's move to the details of the world news. Iran has launched dozens of drones and missiles at Israel in a retaliatory attack. Sirens and loud explosions are heard as Israel's air defenses intercept objects in the sky. The US has shot down some Iranian drones that were headed towards Israel, military officials say. RAF jets in the region will intercept any airborne attacks within the range of its existing missions, the UK says, as Defense Minister Grant Shapps condemns the senseless attack. Iran has warned that Israel should be punished for a strike on its consulate in Syria on the 1st of April. One person has been killed and 10 others injured after a cable car cabin collided with a broken pole and burst open in southern Turkey. Passengers plummeted to the ground following the crash last evening after the supporting pylon collapsed in Antalya. The whole cable car system is immobilized while the emergency workers try to evacuate stranded passengers. An investigation into the accident has been opened, the Justice Ministry said. Nigeria has become the first country to roll out a revolutionary 5-in-1 vaccine against meningitis. The World Health Organization said in a statement. The Men5CV vaccine offers a powerful shield against the 5 major strains of the meningococcal bacteria A, C, W, X and Y, which causes the disease. Known by the brand name Men5, it provides broader protection than the vaccine currently used in much of Africa, which is only effective against the A strain. Meningitis is an old deadly foe, but this new vaccine holds the potential to change the trajectory of the disease, preventing future outbreaks and saving many lives. That was the world news. Now let's move on to the development news. The Road Development Authority has generated 126 million rupees in revenue from the expressway users between the 10th to the 12th of April. During this period, 366,000 vehicles utilized the expressway, the RDA said. And that was the development news.
Moving on with sports news.
And in sports news, the promising player from Devapati Raja College, Rathgama, Sashini Gimhani, has been named for the national women's cricket team for the forthcoming ICC T20 World Cup Global Qualifier Cricket Tournament, which is to be held from the 25th of April to the 7th of May in Abu Dhabi. Sashini Gimhani, the unorthodox spinner, who is having a very similar action to that of former South African spinner Paul Adams, was involved recently in the concluded Tri-Nation Under-19 cricket tournament. This 15-year-old player is the youngest Sri Lankan player for the Abu Dhabi tour. That was the sports news. Business news coming up.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න as වහගෙන දැකපු හීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
LOLC Credit Cards has announced their exclusive offers and activations that are set to delight customers across Sri Lanka. From year-round discount campaign to flexible installment plans, LOLC Cards provide something in store for every card holder. With a keen focus on enhancing the shopping experience and providing supreme benefits, LOLC Credit Cards had forged partnership with 400-plus esteemed brands and merchants, both in Colombo and across the regional areas. That was the business news. Economic news follows.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න as වහගෙන දැකපු හීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
And in economic news, Sri Lanka is developing a national tariff policy which will be approved by the cabinet as a part of creating an export-oriented economy, Treasury Secretary Mahinda Sirivardhana has said. Sri Lanka has high import duties and so-called para-tariffs such as the port and the airport levy and export developments cess, which has pushed up the cost of import of raw materials, making it impossible for any firm other than those in the Board of investment zones which can import input tax-free to export competitively. That is the economic news and the weather report to conclude.
Weather report.
And finally, the weather report. The Met Department has issued the weather alert for extreme heat and heavy rainfall in parts of the island today. Accordingly, the temperature felt on human body is expected to reach caution level at some places in the northern and northwestern provinces and in the Colombo, Gabha, Anuradhapura and Trincomalee districts. In its advisory, the department cautioned that heat cramps and heat exhaustion and continued activity could result in heat stroke. Against this backdrop, showers or thunder showers are expected in parts of the western, Sabaragamuwa, southern, central, northwestern and Nuwa provinces today. Heavy falls of rain about 75 millimeters is possible in the western, central, Sabaragamuwa and Nuwa provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts. And before we conclude this bulletin, let's get back to the headlines once again. The auspicious time for the oil anointing ceremony for the new year falls at 10:17 a.m. tomorrow. The President says the progression of the nation is propelled by the perpetual cycle of renewal where innovative ideas come into fruition. The integrated transport plan has been implemented to ensure transport facilities for the people during the post-New Year period. The police urged the public to take care of their personal safety during the outdoor activities. Sri Lankans in Israel asked to exercise caution. The government says no permission has been granted for the import of rice. News overseas, Iran launches drones at Israel in a retaliatory attack. And in sports news, Sashini Gimhani named for the national women's cricket team for the forthcoming ICC T20 World Cup Global Qualifier cricket tournament. And with that, we conclude this bulletin of news. And before I hand over back to Abhishek this Sunday morning, let me wish all our dear lovely listeners out there a very prosperous and a peaceful Sinhala and Hindu New Year. May it usher in the best of health, happiness, contentment to every single one of you.